Jurors have reached a partial verdict in the Sean Diddy Combs sexual misconduct trial.
The jury reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts, but is stuck on the top charge, racketeering conspiracy, a charge that could send Combs to jail for life.
The judge has ordered the jury to resume deliberations in the morning. KTLA's Jennifer McGraw has the details and the next steps in the case.
Sharon, John, this was a quick comeback by the jurors who only just started deliberating yesterday. They say they've come to an agreement on 4 of those 5 charges, but cannot come to an agreement on count 1, racketeering conspiracy. The judge indicated that he would instruct the jury to continue weighing the charge, echoing the sentiments of prosecutors and Combs' defense team that just 2 days into deliberations was way too soon to give up on reaching a verdict on all counts. Now, the jury says they were unable to reach a unanimous verdict because there were jurors who were unpersuadable with unpersuadable views on both sides. In the charges of racketeering, investigators say that Combs coerced victims, some of whom they say were sex workers, through intimidation and narcotics to participate in freak-offs. We spoke with KTLA legal analyst Allison Treasel, and she says the 4 other charges are likely to have been proved based on the incriminating video from the witness accounts and emotional testimony.
But for the RICO charges, it was much harder to prove that there was a criminal conspiracy when they didn't have anyone to take the stand to they say he conspired with them. Who was the person? Who was the group that he conspired with? Was this done for his own personal pleasure, or was it done as a criminal enterprise? And that's where the prosecution really struggled, I think, throughout the entire case.
The judge says that juries have a right to deliver a partial verdict, but indicated that's more of a last resort, and that given the short amount of time the panel has been deliberating, he'd rather give them more time and wait to have a full verdict. And again, the jurors will be back to deliberate early tomorrow morning, so stay tuned.
All right, and with more, we are joined once again by criminal defense attorney Lou Shapiro. Lou, thank you so much for being here. Let's dive right in. This was a wild day in court. We thought for a moment we might be actually getting a verdict, not a partial verdict. Then the judge sent the jurors back to deliberate further. What is your reaction to what we saw in the courtroom today?
Yeah, it was definitely a riveting day. I think everyone sort of knows where this is going. The fact that the jury has indicated they've reached verdicts on 4 of the 5 counts, but not on the RICO count, would really lead everyone to believe that there are guilty verdicts on the other counts. And the only thing the jury just is struggling with is whether this was a racketeering enterprise, whether this was done in some like formal, organized manner rather than just being done. But that is all, that's where all the logic and structure is dictating us tonight.
So, let's go to law school for a minute. Once the jurors said that they were deadlocked on that 5th charge that you're talking about, the racketeering conspiracy, the prosecution asked for an instruction called an Allen charge. What are we talking about here?
So the Allen charge is an old case which basically provides that a judge is allowed to instruct the jury to try to reach unanimity, to try to get everybody to agree on a charge. Not so much to tell them you must agree on a charge, but to remind the jury that you are encouraged to agree on a charge. That way, there is not one of the counts that are deadlocked in the case. So it's routinely done. We expected that to happen, and we'll see what they do tomorrow with it.
Lou, we'll get to that racketeering charge in a second, but this trial ran roughly 7 weeks, and jurors have reached their verdict on 4 charges in roughly 12 hours. What does that signal to you about their possible decision moving forward?
So it's basically indicating that they've agreed a guilty verdict on all those charges, because if it was a not guilty verdict, then they wouldn't be struggling with the RICO count, with the criminal enterprise. They would also be finding a not guilty on that. So the logic would dictate that they're guilty on those charges, but they're just stuck on whether they go the extra level up and say this was a formal criminal enterprise that was running this whole thing.
Yeah, and going that extra level up could possibly mean life in prison for Sean Diddy Combs if he's found guilty on that charge. I understand that throughout the 7 weeks here, though, the prosecution had a very difficult time, it seemed, to prove that case on whether or not there was this racketeering conspiracy. And now that the jurors are deadlocked on this RICO charge, the judge informed jurors yesterday that there are 4 key elements to consider in this RICO charge. Tell us what is being considered. What are those 4 things that are being considered, especially in light of the judge's instructions?
So they have to consider, basically, was there 2 predicate crimes that were being done here? And we can assume that they have arrived at that they were done because they're finding guilty verdicts on the other one. So they're going to say that there was sex trafficking and forcible manners in that sense. Then they have to decide, well, was this decided amongst a group of people? Was there a formal criminal enterprise at play here that said, we are going to do these predicate crimes? And that, I think, is where the jury is stuck. I think some jurors are saying, this is not the cartel. This is not the Gambino family. This is P. Diddy asking friends to do this for me, do that for me. But it was never a formalized criminal enterprise. That's where I think there is a dispute in that jury room on.
Lou, lastly, there were reports Monday that one juror, number 25, might not be following instructions, raising eyebrows, of course, that a stealth juror may have made it onto the panel. How big is a concern is that for you?
It happens all the time. It could be just 1 or 2 holdups, and that's why the Allen charge is read. The charge meaning that message is sent to the jury to, even though you might be disagreeing right now, please keep an open mind. Please discuss all the arguments amongst everybody else. And maybe after hearing everyone else's arguments, maybe you'll change your mind. Maybe you'll see things their way and figure, I didn't have it right that first time around. But tomorrow is almost here, and we'll see what they're going to do.
What do you think is going to happen, Lou?
I don't think they're going to reach a verdict on that. I think whoever was basically hung up on not willing to go with the guilty, call it the majority perhaps on one side, I think they're going to dig their heels in, keep it going, and just stick by their guns. So I think they'll be hung on the racketeering, and we'll see guilty verdicts on the rest of them.
All right. Criminal defense attorney Lou Shapiro, thank you very much for being here.
You got it. Good night.